There comes a point in every spoiled brat's life when his spoiled brat status comes back to bite him in the ass, even when the brat in question is a world-renowned vampire hunter. Especially then, I thought with a sigh. "License and registration, please," said the cop at my window. I shifted my weight and dug my wallet from my back pocket. Reaching up to the visor, I pulled out my insurance card and handed them both to him. He studied them while I sat there, looking wide-eyed and helpless. The helpless blonde routine almost never failed on a rural cop, even if the blonde was male. "Regan St. James, huh?" he said. Kind of a mouthful. Bashfully, I lowered my eyes and said, "Yes, sir." He chuckled. "Good thing you don't have a middle name." Smiling like that was the funniest thing I'd heard all day. I was kind of surprised he hadn't thought Saint was my middle name. "And where are we going in such a hurry, Mr. St. James?" "The high school, sir," I said. "I need to get there before it closes at 4. He glanced at his watch, reflexively. "What's your business at the high school?" "Equivalency exams." "What for?" "I'm homeschooled, sir." I peeked up at him from the fringe of my longish blonde hair. "I'm really sorry I was speeding. I should have been paying more attention." The cop surveyed me solemnly for just long enough to speed my heart up. Then he said, "I guess I can let you go with a warning this once." He handed back my stuff. "Don't let me catch you speeding again." I beamed up at him in relief. "No, sir. Thank you so much." As the cop walked away, my hazel eyes drifted closed, and I pressed my hand against my chest in a totally futile attempt to still my wild heart. That had been a close one. Too close. But it could have been worse. It could have been a total, unmitigated disaster. Fortunately for me, I'd been carrying my legal identity on me, and I kept my registration on the visor instead of in the glove box. It would have taken some fancy footwork to explain away the unregistered 9mm. Since I was in my personal car instead of the old beat-up bucket I used on jobs, the small arsenal in the back was absent. God, that would be all I needed. Once the adrenaline had faded, I put my hands back on the wheel and started the engine up. God, what dumbass invented high school anyway, I muttered. With a quick glance both ways, I pulled back onto the road. Being the heir to a family of vampire hunters hadn't left me with a whole bunch of time for traditional schooling. Instead, my father had registered for various programs and taught me himself as we traveled around the country kicking ass. But every so often, about once a year, he started feeling guilty about depriving me of the wholesome fun that was the public school system. So he called upon his various connections, and boom, standardized test time. I should have known it was coming because he'd given in to my latest request far too easily. I sighed moodily as I rounded the last ridge that would begin my descent into town. At least one good thing would have come out of this. As if on cue, the merry vibration of my cell phone flickered to life. Grateful the cop wasn't around anymore, I drew out my phone. The screen read, Millie, one of the depressingly small number of permanent friends I'd gathered over the years. I flipped it open. "Hiya," I said. "Hey, Ree," came Millie's voice. "You here yet?" Taking a second to balance the phone between my ear and shoulder, I answered, "Almost. I'm pulling up the ridge now." "Awesome." I could tell she was psyched from her tone. "Am I looking for the clunker?" "Ew, no." My nose wrinkled. "I'm in my bug." Millie gasped. "The green one?" I rolled my eyes. "Duh. I haven't seen it yet," she scolded with excitement. "So get prettified and we'll go cruising around." "Prettified?" "Yep." Oh, Ree never changed. I swear I could hear her grin. I grinned back. "Don't plan on it." "You're Regan St. James?" the secretary asked me. I had just barely skated in before they locked the door, so she probably wasn't too happy I'd made it. Biting back something smart-ass, I pulled out my ID. "That's me," I said cheerfully. She studied my ID for a second before wandering over to make a copy of it. Surprisingly, she wasn't some stout matronly figure, but was relatively young and attractive. She did have a case of 90s bangs going on, which led me to believe she was in her late 30s. Yet, in spite of it, she was wearing a smart pantsuit that flattered her curves. "Principal Parker still here?" I asked. "No, he's gone home already." She left the copier and bustled around her desk. When she came back, she had a small stack of papers in her hand. She passed them to me. "You'll need to fill those out and bring them back on Monday. I should be able to get you everything else then." I tossed her a winning smile. "Okay, thank you so much." She was a bit dazed as she smiled back. "You're welcome." Snickering to myself, I stowed the papers under my arm and headed out. Millie's house was pretty much the same as I remembered it, nicely sized without being a sprawling architectural monster. I didn't really have time to take in much more than that. As soon as I pulled up the curb, Millie came rocketing out of her house, dark hair streaming in her wake. I laughed and dashed around the end of my car to meet her. We slammed into each other's hugs, laughing and making girly noises. After a bit, we pulled back, a little embarrassed. "Hey, Ree," she said, her dark eyes bright. I grinned back. "Hiya, Mills." "Safe trip?" "It was okay." I patted my car's hood affectionately. She turned toward my bug and squealed. "It's so cute!" "Isn't it, though?" With a laugh, she grabbed my hand. "Come on, Mom and Dad are waiting." "Hey, wait a sec." I snatched my hand back. "While we have a minute to ourselves, tell me where to go to blow off some steam around here." Millie rolled her eyes. "Spent 3 hours in the car and need to loosen up, huh?" I smiled, all self-deprecating. "Something like that." She thought for a second. "Local boys just go get plastered in the mountains, like you do, but college guys hang at this place called the library." "College guys." I grinned. "Even better."